Primetime 99.
For what's happening in this world today, I would have never thought that I would be the villain in Dave Portnoy's autobiography.
If you're a center cut guy, you're a loser. There's losers out there. Marilyn Manson's out there. Charles Manson, son of Sam. All these people, I guarantee you they're center cut guys. I guarantee it. There's losers out there. There's losers out there. All these people, I guarantee you they're center cut guys. I guarantee you. You're a loser.
You guys, nobody has this kind of a control. I can dominate this cat. This is the pure trust.
That's a bad day at the office. That's just a bad day at the office.
If you would have ever told me earlier this week, last month, I would be feuding with Dave Portnoy on the internet, I would have said, oh yeah, you're crazy. Like Eric says,
They're doing crack!
But that's the real reality that we're in right now. I'm feuding with the owner and El Presidente versus Primetime 99 live in 4K. And I'm not even trying to pat myself on the back. I don't even think it's winning. But I'll be honest, I may not be winning. He's definitely not winning. So, I mean, he's definitely taking the L.
I've been a fan of Dave and Barstool for a long time, and I'll remain one. But I'll also be critical as hell. And he has taken a big fat L right now. Just to kind of put this in perspective as we kind of get rolling on this topic, because, you know, like Dave keeps saying the people that are defending Alex are simply just right wingers that, or had their cocks in it, or had my cock in their mouths.
Real quick, Jamie, why does he always say that? Why is he always talking about his penis in people's mouths? He said that like 6 different times.
He's trying to come out really subtly, but he doesn't want to do it.
It's just weird. He's just like, oh, he has my dick in his mouth. He has my dick in his mouth. It's like, that's his whole thing. And then he calls everybody fat. I'm like, what?
Right here is a tweet. Now, this was his abortion video that got him in so much hot water from so many of the conservative audience. Whatever. I said, I don't agree with Stool Presidente on this particular topic, but this is why I'm a fan. He's 100% real. The same right-wingers that praised him, celebrated him for years, and now trashing him. They're proving his overall point about the right and the left. I stand by that. Dave, you took a fucking fat L, though. You can stop sharing now, Chris. I just want to make that point. You took a massive L in this situation. From Dave's perspective, they took the tweet down for whatever reason. I still think it's kind of weak sauce as their reasoning for wanting to take the tweet down, but whatever. They have their reasoning. And then he decided, I'm going to come at this guy. Talking about you, when you came at him, he had no idea who he was fucking with, though. He had no idea.
Well, just kind of the long story short, I had actually tweeted something about, I had a mutual friend, Mincy, that I've known for a long time. I mean, he's not really a close friend, a guy that, I've known. But I tweeted something around the Super Bowl talking about how the Bengals were going to the Super Bowl and how I was really on a bad luck streak, but they started winning, and then I was like all happy because now I started to make my money back, kind of like a degenerate gambler story. And they shared that, Barstool did, in February. And then like after like an hour, they took it down, and I'm like, why the heck did they take it down? And I text my friend, he's like, oh, they it's a gambling joke. But it didn't even make sense. It wasn't even that serious of a gambling joke in my opinion, but I just didn't tweet anything. I was like, oh, whatever, just, not even worrying about it. Then fast forward 7 months, I post that video where I'm in Vegas and I talk about getting overserved and how I lost a bunch of money. It goes semi-viral, like Chad Ochocinco tweets it, a bunch of, blue check marks tweets it, and then they tweet it. And then I see it up, people tag me in it, I'm laughing, I think it's kind of funny that they posted it. And then about after an hour, maybe a little less than an hour, they delete it. And then I simply just basically said, hey, look, it's very cute that Barstool Sports has, their president is accused of the most heinous accusations, yet they're afraid to keep my content up. I wasn't even really trying to take a dig at him. I was more just trying to bring awareness that, hey, he has some bad accusations. They probably have some sort of bad accusations against me that I'm some far right, proud boy. And I wasn't even really, I didn't say sexual assault. I didn't say what the allegations were. I just kind of insinuated that there's allegations against him. And he lost it. He said that he hates me, literally said that he hates me and that he's rooting for my demise. And then on top of that, Dan Crenshaw, Eye Patch McCain, he retweeted it. Dan Crenshaw is universally loathed right now. Nobody likes Dan Crenshaw. Nobody. So if he's on your side, then you're on the side of the enemy. And he just didn't expect an army of autistic people that I have that are supporters to go after him. And this is the other thing, is this happens all the time with these politicians, whether it's AOC, whether it's Dan Crenshaw. These people have the thinnest skin. And I'm not saying I have some thick skin. I don't like being made fun of. But these people that are in these, high positions of power, they should be able to take it. They don't have any other choice. The bigger you get, the more haters that you're going to have. They come after you. In reality, these people, they live in a vacuum. Nobody ever calls them out. And when somebody does, they can't take it. I think Dave Portnoy is an exact example of he should have just ignored me, but instead he got in the mud with a pig like myself, a literal professional troll, and he's not doing himself any favors. As a matter of fact, he keeps doubling down like an addicted gambler, trying to catch up. And, like I said, he's just stacking L upon L upon L.
You're 100% right on that. And as someone that's followed him for so long and I really do appreciate what Barstool has done. Clearly, they're in the corporate world now. And this is something that Ripa has faced this question so much with the success of the Ripaverse. The question that you keep getting is, what happens if somebody wants to buy? What do you always say?
I say, fuck no. There's no price that they could name that I would be like, yeah, I don't care if it's $1 billion. It's like, a lot of it's about business. I look at it like, if someone's willing to offer me that money, they see a way that they can make that. So I need to be trying to, I'm like, oh, thanks for the offer. Fuck no. But let me see what are you looking at? Because obviously you may see some that I don't see, which I can make some money, but I just wouldn't do that. Like, it's just not worth it at all, because then, it comes with a set of constraints. And Barstool, for example, their whole shtick is, hey, we're kind of not like the other guys type of shit. Like, that was what kind of popped them off. So what happens is, if you end up selling that asset off, and then some other guy who maybe doesn't get it, or groups of guys that maybe doesn't get it, it makes you even come off like a fraud in the event that you participated in trying to grow this brand that was supposed to be, no matter how big it gets, detached from what the other fucking guys are doing. You're getting much of the same old other bullshit that you get from the fucking other guys. And like, that makes then everybody's questioning, like, okay, this is a get rich quick scheme for you. You really didn't believe any of that shit you were maybe talking about.
Again, I understand you trying to build something that they wanted to compete with ESPN, and guess what? In a lot of ways, they have embarrassed ESPN. Yeah. Barstool has embarrassed ESPN in the last 5 years in terms of ESPN's trying to be like them in a lot of ways, even though they can't really seem to get out of their own way with the network. But like the social media, they have completely tried to rip off Barstool. But when it gets to something like this, Dave is starting to sound like the people that were complaining about Dave 5, 6, 7 years ago. Now, Dave complaining about Alex, that's exactly what he sounds like. He's like, oh, he's a far right person. He's mean. He does mean things in public. And look at what he did with those Steins and all. I'm like, oh my God, Dave, what the fuck? And it's like, again, when you brag about, I'm going to sleep comfortably on my 500 million, that's not the own you think it is. Quartering said it best. He thinks that Dave has lost connection with the stoolies, that's what Barstool fans are. They're stoolies. They're everyday people. The reason we go to meetups, which by the way, Alex Stein showed up to, and he had a blast, and we don't charge anybody. Yeah,
it was insane. Oh my gosh. I mean, the support was insane. When I first walked in, there was like no room to even move around. Luckily, after an hour or two, people kind of started going outside and you could walk around, but the support was insane. It was a great meetup. I was really blown away because I expected it to be busy, but it was, dude, I didn't have a free second at that party. So I can't imagine what you guys were doing.
Yeah. Again, we know we've all seen our success in our own different directions and different places, but when we go out there and hang out with people like that for free and no structure. So the point is losing that, kind of everyday good old boy feel. That's where I think Dave is he's so successful now. He's so rich now that he has become the very thing that Barstool stood against.
Well, and Jeremy, it's not even a really competition of who's done the worst thing, because I don't even want to bring up, dirt and try to out of context stuff. Like I said, everybody's got some sort of skeletons. It's kind of like, show me what you're doing right now. And what he's doing right now is in those private messages, he's like, oh, well, I said, you're getting humiliated. He's like, well, I'll sleep gently on my $500 million. I didn't even post it. Then he screenshots and posts that. So it just shows you, in an economy where everybody's struggling right now with inflation, other than Eric, everybody else is struggling right now. Can barely pay their bills. These moms can't even afford to fill up their minivan. And this guy is really disconnected from the American male, the middle class, the stoolies. And I think that is what's so glaring about this, is his disconnection from his own fan base. But once you sell out, dude, he has no motivation to actually make a good company, because he doesn't necessarily own it anymore. He's just kind of phoning it in. And that's why people are realizing, oh man, he's so ingenuine. And let's put it this way. He has a hot girlfriend that's way out of his league, that's only with him. He's not a very tall guy. He's not like some strapping guy. And she's with him because he's got $500 million. If he didn't have that, he wouldn't be with her. So he's probably stressed out constantly that she's going to leave him if he loses any money. And he's being sued for a cryptocurrency scam. And on top of that, owning a gambling app. I don't care what you say. I'm not the moral police, because I think he says something about that. that. I'm not even necessarily against gambling, but gambling is inherently bad. The casino has the edge. So you're taking advantage of people, whether you want to admit that or not. So, at night, he does have to feel kind of like Biff Tannen in Back to the Future a little bit. I mean, that's just how it is, whether you want to admit that or not. That's just the parts of owning a casino. It's not a glamorous business. As a matter of fact, it's a pretty, seedy, crappy business that was created, basically made famous by the mob. So he's basically like a legal mobster is what I'm trying to say.
And he's opened himself up to so much with one simple response. Like you said, all he had to really do was ignore you.
You should have blocked me. Yeah, why didn't he block? I'm still confused why I'm not blocked. I guess it's all a urine contest, a pissing match with this guy. And it doesn't need to be. Like he said, he's got all this money. Even one of his tweets too, I get shared. He's like, I think you're underestimating how great my life is. I'm like, dude, first of all, this isn't a life competition. And my life's not even that great. I'm not going around, man. I got a lot of struggles. I look in the mirror. I have a lot of insecurities. I would never look at anybody and say, oh, my life is perfect. But when somebody says that their life is so great or their life is perfect, I think that is a huge red flag, and that they're obfuscating from the truth that their life isn't as perfect as they want it to appear.
Let's listen to a little bit of what he has to say.
Is literally posting videos without watching the entire thing. So everybody at Barstool knows pretty much the number one rule we have right now is do not make fun of problem gambling and stuff like that. Makes sense. We're owned by a gambling company. Much like if you work for Coors Light or High Noon or something like that, you probably don't want to make fun of like Alcoholics Anonymous, right? It's like, you just don't do it. We've had trainings on it. Dukes has been suspended for it. It's just don't do it. So I'm minding my own
today.
What?
I think we have a training today, actually.
We do.
Yeah, he said they're having a training because of that tweet. Now they have to have a company training. They're having an all hands on deck meeting all because of me.
If he would have just ignored it, taken the tweet down, ignored it, and just internally handled it, this would be a much smaller problem. If he would have had a conversation with Alex, I felt very confident it would have ended up in a decent place if he wasn't going into it with a pre-bias approach. But that's neither here nor there. We'll continue.
Yeah.
Exactly. And Gaz texted me. He's like, what do you think of this video? Should I delete it or keep it up? And I looked at it real quick, and it's some guy, I don't know, it's like a skit or something. And he's talking about Vegas and basically like, oh, Vegas, they lure you in, I think, with cheap flights and cheap alcohol and get you to lose your mind, whatever. I had to literally watch it for less than 2 seconds. I'm like, yeah, no, delete. Shouldn't be posted. And Paul's like, don't worry, I already deleted. I took care of it. Fine. Then I'm just minding my own business, and the kid
he calls you a
posted
kid.
It has tagged me in a tweet.
That's an automatic, like he's automatically being disrespectful already. You know what I mean?
Who cares?
The kid, the kid.
And he's got like, I don't know, 250,000 followers, like 250,000 followers. And he basically says, it's kind of ironic that Barstool Sports and Stool Presidente would like take this video down when he's been accused of all these heinous crimes, but they can't keep this joke up. And that set me off because it's like, all right, it had absolutely that there's just two irrelevant things. We have that rule. You can't make the problem gambling jokes. What that has to do with the accusations.
How are you supposed to know that prior to that? You know what I mean? Like, are you supposed to know the Barstool social media rules?
Yeah. Like, and even on top of that, though, I said heinous accusations. I didn't even say they were true. He knows that he has these accusations. These accusations, every single person knows. If you know Dave Portnoy,
he's addressed them. Yeah, he's addressed them.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm not even saying that he's guilty of it. I didn't even say that he did this. I was just kind of bringing up that, it's a little edgy. You can have this guy that owns a company has a very edgy background, but I'm too edgy. That's the point I was trying to make. I wasn't even trying to say that he's guilty of these accusations. There's three sides to every story: his side, the girl's side, and the truth. So listen, I know it's a very gray area. So I wasn't even trying to say, oh, he did this. I just said they are heinous accusations, trying to bring light to the hypocrisy of them saying, oh, well, they can platform him, but they can't platform me.
Exactly. And I totally see that point. We're not going to listen to this whole thing, but later on, as he gets into it, he's like, I don't understand what point he's trying to make. That doesn't make sense about how he says this.
Yeah, man, I cannot believe this. We have witnessed the destruction of Dave Portnoy in front of our very eyes. The president has been impeached, Alex Stein is taking
It's a controlled
over.
demolition of Barstool Sports by yours truly.
It was so funny to see that last night. Like Steph just holds over the phone and is like, "Hey, look at this." And I'm like, "Is Dave Portnoy really talking about Alex Stein right now?" And it's like, man, somehow you always end up winning, Alex. You ratioed him, I don't know how many times. Everybody else ratioed him. And listen, Dave Portnoy is who he is because of the amount of times he's put his foot in his mouth and he said stupid shit. And he's come out with this like fake machismo bravado and like refusing to admit when he's wrong, right? But this time he is really, really wrong on this one. Yeah, you're not just some random dude, so it's not working out too well for him. I was really surprised that he didn't have you on the podcast. When I found out that like that offer was out there, it's funny because I was busy in Phoenix doing some stuff yesterday, and I wanted to tweet out, "Hey, at Dave Portnoy, the only way to resolve this is to have at Alex Stein in your podcast." That's what I wanted to say. And then like all the DMs leaks showing that it was maybe going to happen, then it wasn't. I really thought he was because it just seems like such a win-win to like get all that attention, then have you on the podcast, and then come to like a resolution, because I think that's probably what would have happened.
100%, I would have been respectful and tried to resolve it. 1000%.
I think if you would have like gone on there and spoken to him just like you always fucking speak when you're on streams and everything, and people like realize like why you're doing these things, he would totally respect it. Like this is a motherfucker who like sat in Roger Goodell's office and fucking refused to leave to get arrested over Tom Brady getting suspended from the NFL, right? Like this is a dude who tries to get attention for this bullshit. And in his one fucking phone call from the police station, it wasn't to a lawyer, it wasn't to his parents, it was to the guy to start selling the t-shirts, right? That's who Dave Portnoy is. So I think he would totally like get what you're doing if he actually talked to you. Imagine if, Portnoy actually knew that Alex had like 5 cats.
Kitty.
Yeah, if he knew how many cats that I have the pussy palace over here. Look at this cat control. You guys, nobody has this kind of a control. I can dominate this cat. This is the pure trust. A lot of people don't have this trust level with their cats, but me, I do.
Legs. Stretch.
Yeah, the face of a far right wing toxic
extremist,
male,
proud boy.
Holding up his cat.
The pussy palace at the conspiracy castle.
Y'all look at Alex's recent tweet.
He responded to Team Portnoy.
Oh no.
Hey.
Oh no.
Oh god. Oh my god.
All right, for
Country
immediate
is
release.
falling apart,
It's all right. Our country is falling apart. Failed reality TV stars like me, Alex Stein, Primetime 99 is trolling Dave Portnoy, the last true American hero on Twitter. I get it. I failed at reality TV, and I get it. Online gambling corporations and government agencies don't like my content, so last action hero Dave Portnoy can't post it. But I'm Alex Stein, Primetime 99, always on the grind. I don't want hate and divisiveness. I want love and unity. I want positive vibrational energy. I want to stand alone together with brave and heroic employee of mega gambling corporation, the real American hero, Dave Portnoy. Let's all unite behind Dave Portnoy's brave and heroic leadership and his inspiring message. Let's validate him and not criticize him for being pro-choice. He likes to kill babies, but he's still beautiful. Let's follow Dave Portnoy's example and reject the hive mind and instead unite behind Dave Portnoy and stop criticizing him and stop posting content that gambling corporations and government agencies disapprove of. Hopefully then our broken country will become united again. Thanks, Dave. You're the best. Holy shit, dude. Wow. Dave's kind of shtick and his gimmick, it's gotten him in big trouble. He finally fucked with someone that he can't defeat.
Everybody give it up for Alex Stein!